Earl always had like a musical montage for us every show.
I mean, you know.
This guy's awesome.
You're listening to the Hot Seed Podcast.
HOTSEED.
Welcome all. I'm Sean, along with my co-host Earl.
That's it. That's all I had. Just wanted to do that.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
and you guys know what it is.
Wow.
We just dance with mics, gamers with headsets, and a whole lot of unfiltered conversation. And as always, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Hot Seed Podcast. Be sure to listen, like, rate, review, share, and most importantly, enjoy on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite shows. And go on over and subscribe to that YouTube channel, man, at the Hot Seed Podcast. And if you don't feel like doing none of the shit I just told you just right now, just go to our official site, man, the HotSeedPodcast.com. It is live. You can listen to the pod and buy you some fresh gear too, all in one place.
It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Size it up. Size it up.
Yep. Size it up. I'm actually, that's in the details. Size it up, please. The gear won't made for guys who do push-ups. Shout out to CB. And myself too on the golf course. I was out there getting cut like a bitch.
Yeah, I want to say, I'm about to say, don't move too much, bro.
I was out there flexing. I was like, "Excuse me, fuck around, you find out." Man, new episode, man. We back from if you guys listen to episode 144 with Audrea, man. Make sure you guys actually go. I know David posted it. She has a performance coming up. I don't know if you have it right offhand, but we'll repost it in our socials and whatnot. But make sure you, one, go and listen to the pod. Two, go listen to the EP, Love and Loss. And three, go check her out if you're in the DMV area. She performs.
So it's gonna be on the 21st.
Day after 420. So you good.
Those Social DC out there, 1401 Oakey Street, Northeast DC.
Absolutely. Yeah. So check it out, man. And then, after that, go to the pod. Go to the website and, get you some fresh gear. Size up. That's all I'm saying. New episode, man. We're back from our adventures out in Vegas. Dave and I, Earl off of vacation. Fun times. I'll start this off. It was a fucking blast. It was fun. I ate pizza yesterday. If you guys saw any of the socials on there, I never knew that pizza would be a saving grace when you out enjoying yourself. From Friday night to Sunday night, pizza saved our lives, brother.
Saved our lives.
Banging pizza at that too. Some banging pizza, man. So shout out to what's it called, Borino or something like that. Borino or something.
Whatever. Dude, both of the pizza joints in MGM, they had man. 6 of them.
Hell yeah. And it was like that New York style pizza that I love. Yeah. So the missus ordered pizza the other day, and I was like, "What the fuck is this shit? I can't get jiggy."
Right, I can't get jiggy with this shit.
But yeah, man, it was good. It was a good time, man. My man, storyteller, man, did me right.
Hey.
I will say that I got one thing. No Diddy, man.
We're gonna brush over that. Yeah, no Diddy, bro.
I'll say this though. My one Peter Griffin what grinds my gears. Party buses. If you're gonna serve cheap alcohol, don't water it down with juice. I ain't never had that much damn cranberry juice in my damn life. The young lady was fly, and she was doing the cranberry and vodka, and it was. If you guys ever drink Sky vodka, that shit was like that shit was a tier below that. That shit was called blue vodka. I think I could probably look it up.
But Vladimir or some shit.
No, it's called blue.
Vladimir give you a better bite than that.
Yeah, man.
Was it in a plastic bottle or was it at least?
It was called blue.
Yeah.
I think it was
Let me explain something. So what I learned, my bad. I mean to cut you off, but this is important. What I learned is that don't ever drink liquor out of a plastic bottle, bro. If anything at minimum, it needs to be a glass bottom. But if you drinking a plastic bottom, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Whatever you get is your fault. Go ahead. Sorry, continue.
It was rough, man. But she was drowning it in cranberry to the point me and Dave had a whole lot of cups. I was like, hey, top this off with some of that cheap ass vodka because my diabetes ain't right now with all that shit. So much so, if you have so much sugar, man, the next day I did have a slight headache, not from the alcohol. It's just the amount of sugar that we had. But it was dope. You know, shout out to all of our Polynesian friends who was on the bus. They were cool.
A lot
of them. It was dope, man. It was a really dope time. Shout out to Brood Dog and them banging ass wings that I left.
It was off the chain
at whatever that Irish pub was.
You fed somebody that you weren't supposed to.
I did though, but we did feed somebody a L on that goddamn beer pong table. So
you being petty.
I am. It was somebody else. Oh, and even in the cornhole too. in the Bloody Mary with the thick ass bacon in it. Yes, that shit was great.
Shout out to Margaritaville before it shuts down out there in Vegas.
Man. Yeah, man.
That was an experience.
Yeah, man.
Until I lost that bet with Caitlin Clark. Appreciate you, girl.
Oh man, watch the video.
I was right with you, dog.
Watch the video, bro.
At least you only needed what you had 31. You needed, and she had 30.
I needed her to score 32.
He needed 32.
And I had 35.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. She had the shots, but it just ain't. It ain't.
That is
man. I'm telling you, those last 5 minutes, the bookies got in her ear and said, "Look, you're gonna lose the game anyway.
Yeah.
So why don't you just
just go on there."
That shit was hilarious, man. I've never seen somebody so nervous. The energy around it was just funny. And then the bartenders feeding
everybody in the bar.
That shit was
everybody
funny,
in the bar was entertained.
That was some fun ass shit, man. That was dope, man. And shout out to the Cast Me Out for the greatest karaoke night ever.
He was in. You and your what's supposed to be say zone.
Yeah, zone. Yeah, it's fun times, man. It was a fun time, man. No, I didn't make no bad decisions though, but I had a great time. And I was tired of shit when I got home. I got to a point, I think probably Sunday night, maybe Monday. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go home now. I'm tired because the bed won't comfort me no more.
So let me tell you what's crazy though. Do you realize my body still hasn't adjusted from being back? I don't go to sleep right now until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I start getting tired because I'm still on the West Coast. Hey, it just hit midnight type joint. So yeah, I got to figure this out, man. I'm all over the place, but we'll get it right.
It's rough. I can see that. You know, crazy part is, yeah, man. And I don't see how people, to be perfectly honest, I know, people who have gone out to Vegas for like 10 days to 2 weeks at a time.
Unless it's business.
Unless it's business. That's it for me. I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot. It's draining, and you ain't got to be gambling.
No, I mean, we did it. We did it.
Yeah, we watched somebody gamble. That's all. It was fun though. It was fun, man. Earl, how was your spring break, brother? How was your spring break, man?
Well,
like side tells me that's a lesser of a side as it was going into spring break. I'll tell you that much. So good job.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, I got some time to rest. Like I said, I mean, when you with your child, you do it ain't the spring break you would want, but at this age, I just be happy that I got some time off. So I was cool.
Man said at this age,
yeah, at this age, any time off is time. I mean, all my parents know especially the ones that's in education. If you have a child and their spring break coincides with yours, you ain't on spring break. That's either we going somewhere or we got to figure out activities because we ain't gonna be stuck in this house just chilling. Getting on my damn nerves.
Look, the term at this age is the equivalent to not for nothing. When you say not for nothing, whatever. At this age is the equivalent to that.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
It's good stuff, man. It's good to be back with my guys, man. It's we needed that break because we're about to be full on energy is about to be up. If you guys have been paying attention to the pod, you know we are building up. You know, we're out of football season, but we're not. We're building up to
Football season just started.
probably our I want to call it our second biggest podcast streaming event. One being All Black Everything, and two being the NFL Draft Watchcast, which is our premier streaming one, next to the All Black Everything series. So we're gearing up. That is next week. Next week, April 25th at 7:30 p.m. is the pregame with the actual official draft starting at 8 p.m. And we switched it up. So, and I guess I should change that until there. Initially, where we were going to do this, because we did launch the HOTSEED podcast plus membership there, which we're still including that, but we're going to do the draft watchcast exclusively for those members. But we decided, you know what, we're still keeping that aspect, so you're still getting exclusive stuff. We'll have some hot takes coming out this week for our exclusive members. You still get 20% off of our dope merch that you can get right now. Our dope merch, our exclusive merch is available now. Make sure you order a size up on the hotseatpodcast.com. The signature graphic tee and the THP golf polos. But we decided, hey, you know what? We'll just make sure everybody is able to be involved in the draft watchcast. And we'll have a special few things. We'll have some giveaways and stuff like that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be enjoyable. If you've ever done sports, just make sure that you hydrate, because that's 4 hours of insanity and drinking, and hopefully not a bunch of heartache.
Cleansing my body on Monday.
Absolutely. So it's Thursday, man. And there's a little commercial thing. It's the Hot Tea Podcast with your boy, Sean Earl Dave. All right, man. So let's get into it this episode, man. A lot happened since the last time we were up here, and we can work our way around it. I guess let's go into something that's happened more recently, and it happened over the weekend, per se. OJ Simpson passed away at 76 years old. The great USC running back, also played for the did I say the wrong team? I say Cleveland Browns.
No, he played for the Bills. The Bills.
I'm tripping. I'm thinking about somebody else. Yeah,
they played for Houston.
Might out there, but he set the Bills record for for the most yards in the game. A lot of records still held around OJ, but that's not what he's being remembered for. Of course, he is being remembered for the infamous slaying of one Nicole.
Yeah, he played for the Bills and the 49ers. Sorry.
Okay. And Ronald Goldman back in 94, which we were around in our teenage years around then. And at the time we were all watching the New York Knicks, Earl's New York Knicks, and the Houston Rockets play in the playoffs, and that being interrupted by the infamous white Bronco chase. A case that drew the eyes of everybody in the country. And this is well before we had social media. We didn't even have high-speed internet, bro. We was all on dial-up back then. You still were getting your news from the newspapers. This came on the heels roughly, I want to say 3 years after the Rodney King beating and court situation. There's a lot. I remember all this, man, like it was yesterday. And that's all you saw once he passed away a few days ago, which is unfortunate. But the truth of the matter is that's what went down, bro. So what was y'all take away from OJ, man? I know, I've been seeing a lot of people, a lot of people, you got to compartmentalize things. It's kind of like how we do R. Kelly. But, it's two sides.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything. Definitely not negative But I can't also either say positive either, like respectfully.
Right.
Only because he wasn't somebody that I was really paying attention to. You know, he wasn't a football player of my time.
Right.
You know, I really knew OJ. Honestly, you know how I really first knew OJ? It wasn't even because of football. It was because of Naked Gun.
Yes.
Gun.
Yeah, it
You
was.
know what I'm saying? So that's how I knew OJ. You know, so I was like, oh, it's the black guy in Naked Gun. He's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Then I later found out, okay, it's the situation. And I ain't gonna hold you at that point, especially because you know, at that age, I'm trying to remember how old I was with Rodney King, but I was old enough to understand what was going on,
right,
and what the situation was. And you know, I remember being in class, like this is when they had them the TVs that came in on the rollers, on the rolling cart.
You
Yep.
You
normally
know what I'm
put the movies
saying?
on.
Yeah, you put the movies on. So I remember being in there watching TV, and like I knew it was something serious, you know. And then when the fact that he got off free, again, I was young, but I still understood, like, for all these black people to be happy about this, it something, there was something significant about it. I probably didn't know all the way at that time
right.
why, but you know, later in my life, I, you know, definitely understood. And then, you know, I felt like, you know, he got caught up in some things, you know, at the end of, you know, towards the tail end of his career. I mean, life, you know, he went to
9
jail,
years. Yeah.
you know, 8, 9 years, something like that. I
Yep.
mean, I thought that was some bullshit. I thought that was just kind of remnants of this situation, you know, the situation that happened with, you know, the alleged murder, you know. But I think the biggest thing that I want to say is people got to remember that, when somebody passes away, like they are no longer able to defend themselves. Like, however you feel about them, just let them rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, let these people rest in peace. You are not the judge and the jury here. There's only one judge and jury, and that's God. Okay. So, like, people, I don't feel like you got to be negative and say, you know, all this inappropriate things, because you got to also understand, like, these people have families as well. You know, they lost somebody lost a father, somebody lost a grandfather, you know, somebody lost a nephew. I mean, an uncle. I'm sorry. You know, so it's like you gotta look at it on both sides of the coin. You know, so that was my biggest issue. Like, I just felt like there was some people that was out here with just negative comments, and honestly, it was that that ain't the time and the place. You know what I'm saying? If you want to say something, say it when he was here. Once he leave this earth, like, let it be. Let that man rest in peace. That's all I have.
What you got, Dave?
There's so many sides to the OJ story, just to be honest with you. You know, you can go to the football side, you can go to the acting side, you can go to the commentating side, you can go to, of course, the trial. It will always go down as the moment of where were you at during the Bronco chase? Where were you at when the verdict was read out? It goes into what I've discussed plenty of times on this podcast as there's a law of stupidity. Don't put yourself back in any type of situation knowing that you just got off on the biggest trial pretty much of our lifetime.
Yep. Trial of the century.
If you know anything about that second happening that put him actually in jail, it was dumb. So that's why I say that's the law of stupidity type of thing. If you don't know much about it, just everything in general, even the original case, go check out. I believe it's called OJ Made in America. I think it's on Netflix now.
Very good.
But it's something. It's in depth.
Yeah.
And it's taking it from all different sides. Kind of going off of what Earl said, I think people honestly need to look out for the kids, because think of the whirlwind they've been through. I just described to you like 5 different happenings between their parents and you know, and that takes a toll. You know, I didn't even get into the fact of, you know, once again, Law Stupidity, If I Did It, that book, things like that. That these are the things that I'm just sitting back and I'm like, more than even with him, he got to live his life out. It's the fact that these kids are still sitting up here, and to Earl's point, they got to hear this about their dad 24/7. They got to deal with the loss of their mom so long ago. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. And sometimes we just need to take a breath and notice that. Another thing I want to bring attention to, because it hits me very personally, like it hits a lot of people, is the fact of, nobody really knew, but check up on yourself. Prostate cancer. That's what he passed away from.
Yeah.
I'm way too close to that subject.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that he's not the first person, especially of star status, that you didn't know until the end that they were suffering, that they were going through something.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make it sound like, any type of memorial service or anything like that. What I'm just saying is just be
he knew.
No, he knew. I'm talking about on the star status.
Oh yeah,
it was
like
Chadwick Boseman, we didn't know.
Yeah.
OJ, we didn't know. All of a sudden I remember reports coming out weeks beforehand talking about, was he in hospice, and he popped up on like TMZ or something like that, like hospice, nah, I'm good, blah blah blah. So it's one of those things that, more than even judging them on the fact of being secret, because secrecy wise, for me, I would be it too. You don't need to know. But it's the fact of just knowing. So go out there, get yourself checked up on, especially us guys, because we're the ones that normally don't do it. We're the ones that normally don't do it. So just put out that health alert out there. But yeah, goes down as still today, even though we didn't get to really see him run, he still goes down today as one of the best running backs, one of the best seasons for running backs ever, that we never got to really experience. So that's something that I'll know in that sense. And like you said, Naked Gun, that he was hilarious and that he played that to a T. And then trial of the century. So what's your take, Sean?
What's crazy about this, man? This is one of the OJ is one of the most divisive figures there is, man. Like you can you can literally start an argument, especially if you're in a space that has, two different races, black on one side, white on the other, and even utter the fact that you believe that OJ Simpson was innocent, and that shit would cause a shitstorm. It's like talking like politics. And it is so divisive because people, they get lost. Because I remember this. I remember that happening, everything going up into it. And I was, well in tune to what's going on. Shout out to Dr. Chike Akua, because, this was 94, 95. I had left middle school, but by then I had already learned about Rodney King and all the stuff that's going on. And what people also forget, and Earl pointed out that a lot of black people, they were absolutely elated when he was found not guilty. And it wasn't, and people took that as, he found him guilty for killing somebody, in this case, killing a white woman, a white man. Nah, they were elated because if people don't remember, the LAPD was fucked up during that time, and even more so prior to that. And for all intents and purposes, we often talk about Johnny Cochran. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. We forget about the fact that the prosecution for this case, they bumbled this entire case.
They were horrible.
And more so because they were horrible. And two, the LAPD was so fucked up. The reason that he was found not guilty is because the jury couldn't be like, we can't really trust what y'all saying, because you got to find him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was too many questions about.
You got to have the evidence.
Yeah, man.
To show that he was guilty. And one too many times they put two. Mark Furman was a racist.
Yeah,
it was
so
plain as that.
Yeah, it was like,
and they put him on the stand. They should have never had him on the stand.
And for all intents and purposes, And the way that OJ carried himself after the fact, that nigga was probably guilty at the end of the day. But the judicial system did what it's supposed to do because you couldn't find the prosecution was just so bad. But lost in all this, trial of the century and everything else. There was another guy who had his time in the limelight during the same period. Y'all remember Timothy McVeigh? The Oklahoma City bombing?
Yeah.
April 1995. They don't even talk about that shit. That happened during the court case. Around the same time, because the court case went from 94 to 95. It went from that, from that off season going into then what that happened. And they don't even talk about that at all. At all. Absolutely not. So it's one of those things but this was one of those ones where it was at a lot of racial tension and whatnot. Meanwhile, this white guy, Timothy McVeigh, went in and killed quite a few people at that federal building in Oklahoma City. That's just not talked about at all. That's not excusing what happened with OJ, but that shit got pushed to the back burner because this was more, prominent at the end of the day. Former NFL running back, actor, so forth, killed a white man, white woman, But this, it's funny how things happen now because he bombed that building back then. And you look at it right now, you have shootings and stuff like that, and that shit still don't get the time of day. Otherwise, we get stuck with
happens too often.
We're numb to
it as a nation.
Yeah, I was just about to say you get numb to it.
You get that, or it just doesn't give you the clicks that they used to. So right now, what you end up getting left with is a beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. HOTSEED podcast with your boy Sean, Earl, Dave. Hell of a transition right there, guys, but that's how the world goes, apparently. Yeah, so so we talked about it real quick when it first started, when a few weeks ago, Kendrick Lamar came out and he dropped his verse on the Like That track from off of Metro Boomin and Future's album, and it ignited a lot of shit. Since then, we've seen the dropout of one J. Cole, which, let me say real quick, at the time, a lot of people was giving him hell. But like many people I've seen, I thought about now how this is going. You know what? I can't even be mad at J. Cole for this now, because I think he might have read the tea leaves like this is about to go sideways. And now what you got is Drake versus everybody who hates Drake at this point. So let's dive right in, fellas. What you take from all this? You got Rick Ross involved. And he's even ignited MCs who got beefs with people outside of this. Like I saw Lupe talking about somebody else. Who was he talking about, Dave? Lupe was talking about somebody the other day. Oh yeah,
Lupe was like basically saying anybody who won it.
Yeah,
anybody who won it on the lyrical level.
Yeah.
People might want to leave him alone too.
Yeah, please leave him.
He's a professor at MIT right now. Just let him chill.
Childish Gambino got an issue with Kid Cudi.
Didn't he throw shots at Ja in that joint too?
It's so much happening, yo.
I think Ja Morant got spoken about in that joint.
There's so much happening.
By who?
By Drake's joint.
Yeah, it's so much happening, bro. Like Drake is just like, you know what? I got something for everybody. Then you got this.
And please realize before you continue, this didn't just happen. That was the whole thing.
Right.
Drake and the Kendrick thing hasn't been right for years.
Like 10 years, bro. It's been like 10 years.
But it's just the fact that now J. Cole was in that mesh with Drake. Right. Then they announced that whole Big 3 thing.
Right.
Then he got caught up in the middle. Then, you saw them start to go at it. J. Cole would go drop his thing. And as soon as because I was with you, this was Vegas time.
Yeah. Yep.
And that thing hit, I said, while that was all right. And once he apologized, I knew immediately. I was like, yeah, bro, it ain't, because it's not even his fight.
No.
Number one, it wasn't even his fight. Number two, I think he saw the pettiness that was about to go when he saw how the media steered it.
Exactly.
He's like, nah, if we were keeping this with rhymes, cool. This is about to go on a whole nother personal train.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt it too because he said some petty stuff in his rhyme.
Yes, he did.
And it didn't even feel like him. And I was like, you going at like Kendrick's albums. I was like, that Jones fine to me. Like, I didn't understand what he was talking about.
You're better than your album, sir. So I want you
it was weird to me. I was like,
we got a couple.
Cole, you sure you rapping about the right person?
Right.
Like this don't, I got you on your lyrics, but this ain't adding up. So then when he did that, I was like, okay, he definitely wasn't in the right place. But I'll tell you what, I will tell you this. People can sit back and sleep on some of these people that are going to be coming back at Drake. And Drake is at his certain status. But Earl and I had this conversation offline. Drake's going to sell his records. You're not going to stop him from selling his records. He already has his niche. It's just what it is.
Right.
But Drake can say something dope on a diss record and it still won't hit me right.
Mm-mm.
And the reason why is because I don't see him as a battle rapper. It's one of those things that if you take those words and you put it with somebody else, I'll be like, oh, Drake go and say it. I'm like, because
it don't hit.
It
right.
doesn't get,
It don't hit right.
So bringing people
But
in like a Ross.
But that's you. Because even that shit.
I got you.
And I agree. No. Matter of fact, no. That's us. And you know what I'm saying? But you gotta understand. I mean, you understand like the shit that he put out. Remember we was talking about the other day, the shit that he put out. People was actually, we was listening to a guy that was saying like that shit was dope and like justifying
over it.
And I'm just like, it wasn't nothing lyrical about that shit. Like it was even to the point when we first heard it, I didn't think it was real. And I'm not even a Drake fan like that. You know what I'm saying? I like some of his music, but I ain't enough to defend him. Then once it was confirmed that was him, I'm like, yo, really? And it was some of the, that was probably the worst. That was probably one of the worst like rebuttals I've heard.
Oh, really? Hold on, really?
Yeah.
You thought that was the worst? Yo, my favorite line was Metro, shut your whole ass up and go make some drums. That shit had me dying laughing, son. It had me
like that shit was trash, bro.
It was funny. It wasn't
even funny.
It was funny to me. If you know, listen, it was funny to me. I thought it was funny.
Tread lightly. Because people can go on the whole CO thing with Ross. Ross can stand there firmly and say, I'm one of the few people that stood the storm after 50 came at me.
True. Very true.
And that quick, I don't know how fast he put it together. I know they say within an hour or two. That quick response.
Yeah.
I sat back. I was like, yo, that had me laughing. I probably listened to it 15 to 20 times that night. I couldn't even go to sleep. I'm like, oh, shoot, he out here calling a white boy. he out here just.
It got personal, man. It got personal.
And I'm like, oh, shoot. And he ain't going to stop. He ain't going to stop. When he said that joint about the whole thing for French Montana.
Yeah.
That's not a good look, if that's true.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Dave. And this is something I said to one of our constituents, man, Kaleo, man. Shout out to the We Are Something Else podcast. And he asked me what I thought about the seven minute drill joint that Cole had did and everything else. You talk about the diss. And we were talking about that, but I was also talking about the whole Kendrick diss itself. And this is what I saw. Huh?
Which was short. It wasn't even.
It was short. But I said, this is what I took. If I was, because this is what I saw. And I said it on a previous pod that there are many that aren't the Drake fans that feel like Drake has started to appropriate hip hop culture in a way. He's aligned himself around people who are really about that to make his image that much bigger. And at one point, you can argue that Drake had like some shit like going. Like you said, I can listen to music from Drake. But then over the last couple of years, he's latched on to this new trend of stuff, and it's become unlistenable at this time. And there are some of those, like a J. Cole, Kendrick from this new era. And then you got your OGs, whether there's a Rick Ross, Lupe, and those guys, man, they are hip hop. Like they still hold the essence, the essence of hip hop. And I think that Kendrick got offended, in my opinion, by the fact that J. Cole aligned himself with Drake. And now you're doing like this corny ass joint, because the first person shooter shit was dope as shit until Drake got on it. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, you were like, what is this? What is this? Like, now I know this may come off like, and I don't give a shit. It might come off like a, old man get off my lawn type thing. But, I can stop after the Kendrick, after the J. Cole verse. So we know that Kendrick and J. Cole has always been tight, stuff like that. Like you said, Kendrick and Drake have been at it for 10 years now. And he was, I guess, at some point, they older. I guess like, I'm just tired of his shit. And there's some other shit that's happening that you're going to see starts to happen now, because all these different beefs are happening. You got Rick Ross, Metro, Future, and stuff like that. There is, once you get to a certain level in the music industry, you get a big piece of the pie of this thing. Now, we're in the streaming space and stuff like that. So it is believed that, Drake is benefiting a lot more from, especially in this this streaming aspect, than those he's collabing with. If that makes sense. We on that. It's like me and you is on a joint, right? And we both putting in 50-50 of the verses and stuff like that. But since, I'm the bigger artist, or what more popular artist, what case may be, I'm getting a bigger cut of the pie than you are, but even though we're on the same song and we're doing the same streams. And
but
that's
the only thing on that,
yeah.
The only thing on that is, and Ross actually pointed this out, yours is still being split, even if you're the bigger artist.
It is, but it is not being
split. His is not.
But yeah. Wait, no, well, who's not?
That's his. I'm talking on a Ross level.
No. Well, it is, but it's not. And what I mean by that is there are artists in the streaming platforms, man, that are getting paid out, like a Drake, like a Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and they're getting paid out crazy amount of bread, man. And they don't even have like the same amount of streams as some of the lower tier artists have. If you get what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So really what's happening is and then you get to the part he was talking about French Montana, him sending a cease and desist to, if you heard that in the verse there, when they were on that verse 4, there was on the Splash Brothers joint, they end up being Rick Ross, French, and Lil Wayne. There's a lot of extra shit that's happening now that I think now cats is really, now at this point, they got a lot older. It's like, we just tired of this mofo. Yeah, at this point. And again, a lot of people feel like he just latched on to whatever was dope at the time. Of course, he had the benefit of Cash Money at the time, Wayne and them. As he grew out of that, he latched on to all these other 21 and these guys there. And you can even tell in his style, and the music itself has gotten bad, in my opinion. Like, his music has gotten bad. He has his core niche fans, like you guys said, but you can't tell me you can listen to a whole Drake album and be like, for all the dogs, it'd be like, now when he did the shit, the second part of that with J. Cole and them, J. Cole to prop him up, and he still managed to fuck that up on some tracks.
Yeah, and he had the hottest. That song was probably the hottest songs, and it was because of. I'll say this real quick. As I respect J. Cole because he was able to say, as a man, like, yo, I felt like I was kind of peer pressured into doing this, and this wasn't me. Like, it was other outside influence that was telling me, and it was going against my better judgment. I respect that. As an adult, as a man, you can identify somebody kind of persuaded you to do this, and it wasn't your decision. Cool. Respectfully, I get it. on the other side of it, I'm like, yo, you this light skinned motherfucker, like you on some light skin shit, like because as somebody who is a hip hop head who like, especially in the era of hip hop in which we grew up in, where like you it's bars, battles, like that's what we want. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like
that's how you gain your clout.
Yeah. And my thing is like I felt like as a fan, we was robbed of the essence, of that. And that's my biggest thing. I'm like, yo, you are two from our generation, like you are two that are throwbacks to what we grew up on. You know what I'm saying? What we love, what we felt like was a golden era of hip hop. It's probably the best era of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And y'all are remnants of that. And my thing is like you had an opportunity, even if you didn't, even if it didn't sit well, like yo, go ahead. Like, you just know that it's gonna stay on wax. But I mean, it's like, yo, fuck it, go ahead, yo. Let me just hear some bars. You could have said that, you could have got creative and said that shit in the rap. Like, my bad, this ain't even my, but put it in the, you know what I'm saying? But this is like, damn, you gonna put that shit out and then the next day or two, you come back and like, yo, that wasn't on my heart. It's like, man, and Kendrick ain't say shit yet.
Maybe he just ain't. Like I said, maybe he just saw the tea leaves because the amount of people who's coming at Drake now, J. Cole really ain't got no issues with them. Like none of them.
No, and I know, but he could have. But he didn't. I felt like nobody that he. I mean, I think he understood that, but
yeah,
I don't think they was gonna really get at him because he didn't address nobody else. He was just addressing fucking Kendrick.
But see, if you go back to what I was saying before, the confusing part for me was the actual verse in itself.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a confused verse. Like, I'm a J. Cole fan.
Yeah.
I'm a Kendrick fan.
Yeah.
I can listen to a little bit of Drake, but I am their fans.
Yeah.
And I remember I said it on here, our last podcast. I said, don't sleep on Cole lyrically. Kendrick
absolutely not.
Can rap people around the block, but don't sleep on Cole.
Yeah.
Be worried on the Drake on the battle,
right?
About him, but Cole would be all right. But then when I sat down and really listened to the verse, I was like, it don't even seem like it was thought out. Like, what were you attacking? I'm listening. I'm like, no, I see you trying to come the same way Jay-Z came at Nas and was talking about, how many different years you didn't put out a great album. I was like, yeah, no, that was real. I'm like, you're picking out albums that I'm like, no, bro,
they were really good.
Was fine.
Yeah, they were really good.
What were you listening to?
But he didn't believe that shit.
You think about it, weird. He's never been, if you really think about his career, he's never had to deal with that beef thing. If you really think about J. Cole, he sent his shots to people, but he's never had to deal with it. The only time he had a direct on, it wasn't even a beef. It was just he got called out. We all know the infamous Control verse that Kendrick Lamar did about 10 years ago. But J. Cole, to my knowledge, has never had a straight on back and forth with anybody. Nobody. There was a lot of comparisons back and forth with him and Drake, but it was not what Kendrick is sending over to Drake and Drake sending back to Kendrick, and the damn sure one with Pusha sent to Drake, and then it was that. So Jake, he's never had that.
And you want to know what I put it in line with, and that's where I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, media driven, it took it somewhere else, and it's like, whoa, I'm not choosing his side. Like that's my boy, blah blah blah.
Right.
J. Cole was kind of like the common to me in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe I don't sell as many albums as everybody else, but you're gonna respect me lyrically. You ain't you ain't coming over here and just
that's a
just
really
stepping
good,
on somebody.
That's a really good comp. It really is, man. It's like, I'm gonna do my thing, but like no one really has a problem with J. Cole. If you think about it, if he's a feature on your song, he's probably gonna eat your shit alive. But even then, it's like dope, but it's nothing. It's not. No one has really got a beef with J. Cole because he's so unfortunate in this case. you can't be neutral in this. To Earl's point, like you gotta pick a side.
And he
in
always
this
pays
case.
his respects.
Right? Yeah, you
Whether
do.
it's the older generation or he always pays his respects on it.
And I think the thing that he suffers from is, it's like he probably like, I respect what Drake does, let him do his thing. But if you really, really, really are thinking about hip hop, and then you're looking at Drake, he has had his moments, but now he's turned into, it's more just pop, if anything, and then a bunch of other messy shit in between it. It's not, it doesn't age well, in my opinion. And we'll see what's going to happen. We're still, a couple of days after, Kendrick hasn't responded to anything. You've seen a lot of weird stuff. I hate AI right now. There's a lot of stuff.
He hasn't even put out there that it was his his verse.
Weird, man. It's weird.
You get what I mean? Like, and that's what Ross was saying. Like, look, don't do no subliminal stuff. Don't say your thing leaked. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you coming at me, let's go.
Yeah, and here's the sad part about all this. As excited as we want to be, I feel like none of this will measure up to when Pusha dropped the story of Adidon. None of it. I feel like none of us. I don't. Unless Kendrick got some shit out back there that's really gonna make you like, holy. There's nothing that I feel is gonna give me that energy, because I listened to that the other day, and then I went back and watched everybody's response from Joe Budden and everybody else, and everybody was like, oh my gracious, like this was crazy disrespectful on the level of an ether takeover. I mean, Rick Ross is doing, I don't know if that stuff is like trolling, but I don't see.
So let me ask you this. How does J. Cole come back from this?
I think he's fine.
He's fine. He's fine, man. Like he has his, he's fine.
I mean, I personally don't think like he'll be like hurting. I think because the type of person that J. Cole is,
he's fine.
He's just gonna go off in the sunset after this tour, ride his bike and chill out and be gone for a couple of years, maybe come back, do a feature here and there, but he'll be all right.
Yeah,
he was only looking to put out a couple more anyway.
Yeah, he has the fall off. He has the fall off, which coming out. But I think at this point, it's going to be like, he's in his Nas bag, man. He's Nas.
He'll be a person to leave the game. You won't even know he left it. He won't even announce it. It'll just be gone.
But what about Drake?
Drake already has his niche stuff.
Drake is at this point.
People gonna buy his album just cause
he's kind of impenetrable, man.
But I think so. Drake, what Drake is gonna always have, he sells records, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even sell records no more. They do
streaming. Well, whatever. I mean, whatever is the metric of success, right? Whether it's selling records or streaming, he's exceeded that. Like he's doing that. You understand what I'm saying? I think my biggest thing is with him, when you talk about rap, there's a level of success, but I don't care what nobody say. When you a rapper and you really, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to be in the conversation. Like, I feel like this further moves him way outside of the conversation. Now, I guess
Drake?
Yeah. Yeah, this moves him way out the conversation. He already had allegations for that has been confirmed that I can't even call it allegation. It's been confirmed that he had a couple Ghost Riders. Then
he still released stuff after that though.
Doesn't matter. What a real hat as you as a hip hop head, yo.
But you're talking about hip hop heads though. We talking about his own.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm saying if you a rapper, right, and you really rap, you want to be in that conversation.
Gotcha.
And what I'm saying is that I'm only talking about the hip hop hat, the cats that put him in the conversation, or that cannot, the people that are that has steam to actually speak on that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it moves him out of the convo because he's done too many things, and his response, like, I mean, the Pusha T shit, like, you came at Meek, you did your thing with Meek, but I don't feel like Meek is on the same level as you. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Meek, but you got with somebody who was lyrical and he fucked you up. You know what I'm saying?
This is why I disagree with Earl, because even after the Pusha T thing, if people had stopped really collaborating with Drake, I would agree. They still do.
Nah, you missing the point. I'm not talking about his level of success. I'm talking about with rap niggas. I'm talking about with real rap niggas. If you talk to like some,
that's a small group though.
That's all I'm talking about. Though.
But this is the one thing that I'll interject on this. Kind of going off of Sean's point for you, Earl. I don't think he cares.
Yeah, right.
Because I honestly, there's some people that care to be in that conversation.
Right.
I don't even think he conversates with people that are in that conversation.
J.
You know
Cole
what I mean?
and Kendrick care.
Yeah, like they're
in.
They want that respect from that. I don't think he cares because
not at all.
He has his own, you know what I mean? If he was constantly trying to fit within that mesh, it'd be one thing. I think he has his own. You call it a different genre if you wanted to. Like he has his own thing going on. If he's in it, great. If he's not, he's like, shit. But I sell. I got money. You know.
Yeah, because what he gonna throw at you is like I got the most, stream this year, most money, stuff like that. Like I get what you're saying, Earl.
Tour.
Yeah, but he don't seem to really, and that's why he's been impenetrable because he has such a global
he's not
audience.
Looking for that same thing, yeah.
Yeah, and then his fan base don't care about it, and they're so overwhelming. That's why Kendrick, I feel like Kendrick can drop the craziest verse, and we all gonna go crazy over it. But then there's gonna be a large group of people will be like, that shit was mid.
But I feel like I see what y'all saying, but I still feel like I'm not talking. I'm really talking about like a small population. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think what's in question is, do he care? I don't know. I don't think none of us can answer that one. You know what I'm saying? We could just, guesstimate or assume.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is, for like if we're up here talking, and I'm saying like he moves himself outside of that conversation,
right?
Well, and like can I ask you this? This may answer in a sense. You personally, Earl, was he ever in that conversation?
No, not for me. But what I could say,
besides the beginning of his career, I don't know.
No, I mean what I could say.
There's a verse here and there.
Yeah, what I could say is he wasn't in for me. Because I have other biases with him that I'm just like, nah, I can't fuck with. So I'm not a good person to ask.
Okay.
But can I say, like, have I heard him spitting? Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So where, like, if he'd have kept going, like the thing that threw me off with him, the biggest thing with him is that if he'd have cut the singing shit out and just spit, then I'm like, all right, you have some argument. You still ain't in my shit, but you got some argument. Like my favorite album by Drake was what's the white album where it had the words on it? Something about if you something you could thank me later, some shit. Like, because I felt like from tracks 1 through 8 or 1 through 9, there was no skips. And it's funny for me, that was pivotal because he wasn't singing on none of them shits. He was mostly rapping. Yeah. But then when you get his album, it's like, you could get a whole album as a rap album. Well, you thinking it's a rap album, and half of it is R&B.
If you're reading this, it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, that's in my opinion. That's his best album, in my opinion. Everybody else will tell you different shit, but I'm telling you this because, like,
think about that. You just said that that's his best album in your mind, right?
In my mind,
8 albums ago.
That's 9 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
he is
or songs that he features on. Like, I feel like he do his thing on there.
Here's a comp for you. He is this generation's LL Cool J, and I'll say why.
That's a good analogy.
Because there are some in that 80s going into beginning of the 90s rap who believe that LL Cool J is the GOAT. Hell, LL Cool J believes he's the GOAT.
Yep.
But and then he did his thing there. There are people who believe that Drake is the GOAT because he started.
Hold on, while you're talking, While you're talking, Earl over there looking like he was like in an old
Right.
80s video.
Yeah, he is.
Because my green screen was acting like
that's what he is, man. Like he believes he's the GOAT because he started a trend, which he did. He started a trend of rappers who does the singing shit and all the auto tune.
He didn't start that shit, but
no, he has a groundswell behind him. He didn't start it, but there's some who decided to do that Drake thing that they do. But
he makes the thing. His expertise is he knows how to make club bangers, and that's what it's about. Especially in this era where that's most pivotal because they don't give a fuck about albums. It's about like the track. You know what I'm saying? So like he knows the science of making a banger. And it could go between different genres. He can sit up here and do something with, Cardi B or Kendrick. Right. I mean Cardi B or somebody, and then get one of these young fucking mumble rappers and do something with them, make it hot. You know what I'm saying? And then go get with like a Miley Cyrus. I mean, not Miley Cyrus, like a what's the other girl that's with Travis?
I don't know.
The white girl, Beyonce's arch nemesis that everybody likes to call her.
Oh, you
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if they have something, but I'm just saying, I'm just giving an example. Like, he could do some shit with her, and they'll say it's hot, whatever. But like, that's his skill, like that's his talent. But if you talk about like rap shit, he ain't in none of my conversations.
That's something that I think Game said it. The Game says a lot of stuff, but he was on All the Smoke, and he was saying, the fact that people hold Eminem in such high regard, and his pushback to that. So he's like, no one's, they're not playing Eminem in the club. We're not riding around listening to that. And then take it this way.
True.
No one's riding around and listening to. They're not playing J. Cole in the club. No one's riding around listening to that.
That's a difference.
Because
I'm going to listen.
Think about the lyrical. You're not going to hear unless you're hearing like No Role Models, and maybe one or two other ones. You're not really hearing J. Cole in the club type.
Because
okay.
I mean, Friday Night Lights was different for me. Like,
but you're just not hearing it in the club. Is what I'm saying. That's all.
Yeah, because it's not. He don't make the. But what I will say is,
but he's better than Drake.
Yeah, but what I will say is that his songs is a little bit more transferable to clubs or at least radios than Eminem is, because Eminem be on some. The motherfucker is lyrical as shit, but Eminem is on some shit where it's like you ain't putting his shit in and you bumping that shit trying to get, because when you in the car, when you in the car, at least for me,
like I listen to that shit and be like,
no, at least for me, right? It's a couple of things. It's a couple things I need to hear. Like, one, I want to hear your lyrics, right? Two, I want to hear the production. And I ain't gonna hold you. A lot of Eminem's production, I don't fuck with. It's like some weird shit. I don't fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? But if you hear him on like a Renegade, or if I'm in battle rap mode and I'm like, yo, I want to hear him spitting, like, yeah, I'm putting that in. That's just like battle rappers. Like, all of them can't make songs. Like, sometimes I'll be in battle rap mode, but I just want to hear bars. You understand what I'm saying? So like, if I just want to hear bars, all right, cool, I'm going to Eminem. But is he somebody that, like, when I'm in my car, I'm bumping this shit? Nah, it's a select few songs that I like from Eminem where I get that type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got a couple, but a lot of it is because of the production. Like that Slim Shady shit, like the production, I mean, yeah, it's Dre, but again, that's not my type of shit. Where I'm Slim Shady, ain't nobody bumping that shit. Like, white people are. Ain't nobody bumping that shit.
I guess that's what.
I'm going in that conversation.
Lane one Negro that's
this will sit back. This will have me go for another 20 minutes. So if you just stay with J. Cole and Drake.
Either way, look, Kendrick, go ahead and just get us out. Just go ahead and do us a solid and go ahead and drop this reply so we can get this shit over with. Because
it ain't no reply. I need it. Like, the motherfucker said he apologized. So that's it.
I said J. Cole. I said Kendrick. I said
Kendrick.
I said, yeah, Kendrick, go ahead and send me one. Drake replied.
Well, it's nothing for him to say.
You got to do something. That verse can't be all we gonna get. Drake done went low. He didn't call him a midget.
Yo, he don't want to fight, dog. So it's not for him to say. It's not for him to say. He don't want to fight.
No, make sure you got the right person. I said Kendrick, not J. Cole. I'm talking about Kendrick.
I know, yeah. The motherfucker don't want to fight, so it's nothing for him to say. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I need him to burn this shit all the way down. That's what I need, so they can get all this done. Either that, or we stuck with Rick Ross, and Rick Ross gonna do some shit that we know.
I mean, Rick Ross is entertaining me right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he's gonna and this is where it's gonna get interesting before we get off this topic. We know that Rick Ross will go as far as pull some shit that's gonna be crazy personal, and then this is the part where you start to get like, ooh, this is gonna be rough. And Rick Ross, he don't give a shit. He don't care about none of that. What you have to worry about is fans or crews, if he got such a thing, doing things like that. And you don't want to see it go that route. But Rick Ross, he started with the whole white boy shit. So you best believe it's gonna be something that's gonna come out of this that's gonna be interesting. And that's when it's, the only way I can see, and after all this, to end it here, the only way I see Drake losing this whole thing is if, and I don't see it happening, artists stop collabing with him. Because that's been his career for the majority of his career. It's been his collabs with different people. If people pull away from that, that's the only thing that I see that will defeat Drake. That's all I see.
Leave it there.
Yeah. Metro, go make some fucking drums, I guess. I don't know. That was so
say he ain't getting another Metro beat.
Yeah, that's fair. Podcast with your boy Sean, Earl, Dave. If you want to pay for it, he can get a Sean Xavier beat. I ain't gonna lie to you, and we can call that shit. Call that shit even. Episode 145, man. We catching up, man, from our shenanigans and such. And also we're catching up on another event that took place over the weekend, man. Something that was the pain and agony leading to this of my man, the storyteller, over the weekend, going into that national championship game, won Caitlin Clark, who let him down, immensely going into the national championship game. But she still won because she ended up going number one to, as we all knew, to the Fever. With Cameron Brink going over to, I got teams right in front of me. Being number two. My screen looks all messed up right now. Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese going to the Dagon Chicago Sky, which is interesting. Aaliyah Edwards going to the Mystics. The young ladies had a night, man. They were dressed to the part. I loved seeing the energy around it until I saw the contract for Caitlin Clark. And I was like, God damn. So let's start right there. Dave, what you got, man? What you got? Because I think that's what you were probably talking about.
Nope. You missed me on that. So
cool. Fair enough. Go ahead.
I thought it would be more personal for you.
Okay.
Nah, you talking about the Mystic.
So
that's it.
So before I get to Caitlin Clark's money or not money, we live down here in the DMV area, myself and Sean. And I don't particularly have a WNBA team, so I'm open to all conversation. And I'm sitting back, and I was like, okay, well, want to support a local team. Want to support a local team since I'm down here and I'm a resident. Check out these Mystics. Yeah, DC United, same way, soccer-wise. And I go, oh, they got a chance to get Angel Reese.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a big pickup for them. And then I see that they don't go and get her. Now, I'm not speaking bad about anything about Aaliyah Edwards. They always tell you, anybody that comes out of UConn is already ready to play in the WNBA.
Right.
So it's not to bash that side of it. What I'm bashing is the fact that you need hype.
Yeah.
You need to sell tickets.
Yeah.
Especially with everything going on in DC nowadays around sports.
Right.
Everybody wanting to get on out and stuff like that. You need somebody to draw eyes to your team. And who better to do that besides Caitlin Clark would have been Angel Reese.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't pick her. And as soon as it happened, as Earl, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Mind you, Angel Reese then goes to the Chicago Sky, who had already went out and got Cardozo.
Yeah.
So the two people that have been going at it, two teams wise, have been going at it, battling it out. And now their teammates together. That's a powerhouse right there by itself. I was complex, man. I was like, and this is why I can't fuck with DC. This is why I just can't do it. I tried to get fanhood on this side, Sean. I can't do it, man.
I'm not even look. I watched the Mystics. I'm not a Mystics fan. You know, they just DC's I support for the hometown. But I get what you're saying with the just the star power. That in itself is worth something. Star power.
You know how those jerseys would have sold, bro?
Is there something that's even deeper than this though? Like, is there like a writing on the wall? Because excuse my ignorance here. Just confirm this for me. The Mystic and the Wizards play out of the same arena, right?
Yeah.
They have the same owner, or is it two different owners?
Same owner.
And to my understanding, that aren't they in the process or potentially in the process of?
Ain't going nowhere. No, they ain't going. They're gonna be there till 2048, I believe, or something like that.
2048.
Yeah, they nixed all that. They're gonna be there till like 2048.
Sidebar, that is probably the worst area to put a fucking stadium. Like, they ain't shit.
The Chinatown
right there, it ain't shit. And then when you go over there, it's like it's a movie theaters in there. You gotta go up there. It is a weird,
it's just dangerous on some point. It is.
It's a weird environment, but go ahead.
I get this. The star power, I would like to have seen it too. But to be perfectly honest, and we kind of said it when we were sitting in Margaritaville, or maybe after the fact, they just picked the better player between the two, man.
No, I know you on that.
Who did they pick?
They picked Aaliyah Edwards on UConn. She's a much better shooter.
But here's the thing. I'm fuck. Everybody in the WNBA got to be on the same page. Okay, it is all for one. It ain't about winning championships. Don't nobody give a fuck about. Excuse me. Nobody give a fuck about winning no championships. Okay, it is about getting revenue to the league, that these motherfuckers can get paid.
True.
Because the fact that Caitlin Clark is getting $76,000 a year is wild to me. Like, from the
Target worker makes a Target store manager is making more.
The shit is wild to me. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing is, it's not about. And even
she already sold out the tickets for this year coming up.
Right. Before they even picked her. Even the owners have to get on the same page, because honestly speaking, potentially Caitlin Clark can really drive up revenue with this league. And then I'm glad that her and Reese, if they build on top, if they build on that kind of feud like they did in college, like kind of mirror like what they did with Larry Bird and Magic, you know what I'm saying, which stem from college. Like, you got something here. So my thing is, the Mystics dropped the fucking ball because sis is from Baltimore, yo.
Yeah,
so if anything, you would have had seats in the stands, yo, you idiots. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got no.
It ain't about you picked the better player. Fuck that shit. Ain't nobody going to the motherfucking game. Don't get me started, because I'm just trying to be respectful about the WNBA.
I will say this though. At least don't get to your point, Earl. I agree, because now that matchup between Indiana and Chicago, because they're in the same conference, they're both in the East. So now you got Chicago when they do play Indiana. So now you got LSU going up. I mean, the LSU great and Angel Reese, going up against a Caitlin Clark type, and then Carmela Cardozo. So actually, you got a lot of those same vibes moving over from college. So that Chicago Sky Indiana Fever games, they gonna be crazy. So yeah, they did miss out on that. Washington, Washington does what Washington.
Her season opener is going to break
WNBA records. Gonna be
and then when she plays Angel Reese, that shit is gonna, you know what I'm saying? But again, I need the WNBA. I know they might be friends and they ain't beefing, but even real talk, they might need to have a conversation with them on the side and be like, kind of tap into the WWF model and be like, listen, look, at the end of the day, I need y'all to take one for the team because we got to stir the pot here. So, you know what I'm saying? Angel Reese, do what you do. Caitlin, come out of your element a little bit so we can sell these tickets. Because motherfuckers like drama.
Sean has said it a couple episodes ago about the fact of, will the WNBA be able to capitalize off the fact of what's going on within women's college as far as basketball? And that's the sad part to me when you hear a salary like that for someone that's already done sold out the year for you, for that team. And then about the offer that she had on the side, and you're just like, from the big, what was that? What league is that?
Big Three.
Yeah, from the Big Three. Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow. But we all know, players wise, especially at that status, they're going to make so much more money marketing wise outside of their contract. But it's just the point. And then you're dealing with a league that, you got all this going on, and realize the WNBA only has 12 teams.
Yeah, that's it.
It only
out
has
of how many years? They've been here like 20-something years?
No, but think about this. They only have 12 teams. And the reason why I say even only in that sense, just about every team makes the playoffs. So the regular season isn't even hyped.
It's a tournament.
There's eight teams make the playoffs.
And
so
mind you, Dave,
teams. Yeah.
Mind you, they start playing next month. Usually, with the NBA, the draft for the NBA is what? June, right? And them guys come back and play October-ish, something like that. These young ladies just got drafted day before yesterday or something like that. The season starts next month.
Yep. Yeah, it's there has to be a better design for this.
And then
I don't know.
So you guys,
they're trying to expand it. They're trying to expand it to 16 teams. I know Philly was up there, and
what they need to do, and we're gonna see how this is gonna happen because she's getting paid that measly contract, and I can pretty much guarantee that none of that contract includes any of the TV money that's coming in because she's gonna draw a bunch of people, and none of that TV money is probably coming to.
And I would guess what I would do. I would sit my ass down.
But see, I don't even know what their union situation is like. I don't know what their union situation. And I'll tell you something. It's one thing to watch male sports leagues strike on a union. I don't recall a women's league striking like that. Like, I know they've done different things. Because you seen from the from actually when the WNBA doing the whole, all, Black Lives Matter situation and stuff, they weren't striking, but they all came together. Or you saw with the women's national team, when a group of women put their minds together, they can do anything. So
yeah, right,
dude.
I can almost see them coming together and be like, hey, bro.
Yo, Kate,
go ahead. You gotta figure it out.
You got to, bro.
You got from college basketball,
yes,
and you take a pay cut to go professional.
Right.
There's no excuse.
Right.
There's absolutely no excuse.
After having what was the numbers on that national championship game? Damn near 20 million. I feel like it was like 18 million or something like that. And I don't have the story in front of me. On the women's side of the tournament, they weren't getting, how'd they say it? They weren't getting kickbacks or something from like the viewership for the tournament, something like that. That starts next year for them. So this year they had all these historic numbers. They're not going to benefit from this year. That doesn't kick into next year, which what's the likelihood they're going to meet those same numbers again? Unless Juju and them just go bananas and draw them in. But Juju, just call it what it is. She's black or mixed or black, whatever. Unless they
still got Paige.
Yeah, let's Paige all of a sudden becomes a darling of white America.
Juju, Paige, they still got they still got some dogs in
they do, but this women's national championship tournament, NCAA tournament was all about Caitlin Clark, bro.
Just keep it as long as it was spearheaded by her, but it was maintained by the competitiveness. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it competitive because, like, at the end of the day, I could tell you as somebody who I ain't following no NCAA men's basketball this whole season. I usually get excited around March. I wasn't even enthused because I'm like, I don't know none of these motherfuckers. Even the NBA draft, the last 2-3 years, I'm like, yeah, it's been blah because I don't know none of the players.
Let me ask you this, Earl. If
I was more excited about the WNBA draft than
if LSU had beat Iowa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the final had been LSU and South Carolina, you and I both know that they were going to get the same viewership that Iowa, South Carolina game got.
No, it wouldn't have, but it would have still got good viewership because at the end of the day, there was other storylines. Like now, it shifted from it was other storylines within there. There's another storyline brewing on Dawn Staley's side. You know what I'm saying? Like, could she finish undefeated? Could she do X, Y, and Z? Now, yes, again, Caitlin Clark absolutely propelled it for the sport. But there were other storylines. Like, there was another storyline in there. You know what I'm saying? Now, it wasn't the one that America would have liked to see.
Yeah, call it what it is.
You know? But don't get it twisted that it would have got viewership.
Even it would have. I mean, but not that historic record breaking viewership is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
No, I ain't saying record breaking, but it would have got respectable viewership. I'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Like the women's basketball, college basketball was way more competitive than men's.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you there. I
and
agree.
Even as something, and you talking to y'all know me. I ain't gonna say y'all know me. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say it, but y'all know me how I get down with women's basketball, right? The fact that I was like, nah, like the fact that I was looking at this show, I was like, nah, these motherfuckers, like Caitlin was hooping.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's a walking bucket. Like to see her a couple of times, I don't know why people have hate on her. Like she's a walking bucket. To see Juju play like a Negro. That's a wild statement, but she plays that Juju, other shorty from South Carolina, the freshman.
Stay away from this conversation.
Cold, bro.
Bring up the hot seat logo.
Nah, I'm just saying. I told y'all. Listen, I told y'all. If I'm watching this series, that's all I'm saying.
He did try to tell us. Oh, God.
If I'm watching this series,
pray for us. Don't cancel us. Hot Seat Podcast with your boy Sean Earl Dave. We ready for some not so breaking news, man?
Yeah. We can jump into this real quick.
Let's get it.
Not so breaking news.
Show that I really don't watch, but this actually caused the buzz that's out there. For those of you that watch The View or even know of this situation, one of the hosts on there, Sonny, who was a lawyer, and there's a reason why I'm stating that, had an interesting conversation a couple weeks ago with their guest, Coleman Hughes, who is actually a writer, and he has certain views on things, no pun intended. But this view had a conversation about the fact of race and class, which I'll break it down a little bit more for you guys in a moment. But just to me, what bothers me, especially news-wise, you know that media, we always talk about it, drives things the way that they want things to go, and that's supposed to be the end-all be-all. You're not supposed to attack it. You're not supposed to question it. Well, this guest said, no, this is not how I stand. This is not what I've been saying all this time. And it went left really bad to the point where the host Sonny started trying to portray the guest as if he was a way that he's not. Damn near to the point of you just don't believe in race. Black man, by the way. You just don't believe in race and stuff like that. So if you don't know much about the writer Coleman Hughes, and he's interesting to me, this whole fact of race and class, all he was basically saying is, yes, we live in a nation that's filled with race division, that has a division of races. But at the same time, if you want to get things done, especially for our race, which, like I told you, he is a black man himself, he was saying you need to start looking at things specifically in politics on a class level. Because if you look at class, we make up a big percentage of certain classes. It's hard to get things passed when it's only helping out one race. But if you present things as a class and you say, hey, I'm trying to help out this particular class, which includes poor, let's just say it as it is, poor white people, now you have more of a backing where it's like, hey, we're all on this cause. When you just have one thing in one direction as one particular thing, it's very hard to cause anything to get past it and cause movement and sustain that movement. That's all he's been saying. So on this interview that they were having on The View, the woman Sonny started bringing it to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and started bringing it to the sense of how he stands and what the I Have a Dream speech was about. And the guy was just kind of laughing at her because he was like, I don't know why you're looking at it as just race thing on the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. thing, because the whole thing was that he was including class too. He says it in his speech. You know, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles. Like, he caused a movement, and people around not only the nation but the world got scared because he wasn't only moving blacks. He was moving everybody. When you saw the marches, he had everybody out there with him. If he was just moving us, they're like, oh, we still got him in his pocket. When they saw everybody with him, they said, oh, no, he has to go down. Something has to be done. I've always said this on the Malcolm level. On the Malcolm level, when he had the movement within the Muslim population, oh, he's in his pocket. We're good. But when he went to Mecca and when he saw different people or different shades praying right next to him, to the same God that he was praying to, and when he came back and kind of changed things around his direction, that's when people got scared because you're no longer just moving.
I actually disagree with that one.
Okay, well, we can go at it on that. But that's when people got scared because he was going outside of the pocket. People put things in pockets. Black Panther movement, that when you saw certain things that were going on within there, they caused different things on different sides, and they put an actual story out there that drew people against each other. You see what I'm saying? And then they killed us within with our own hate on each other. So I'm saying these things to you because all he's been saying is they want you to think in a sense of just this because they know they can stop that. But when you present it on a sense of class, now you're inviting in people that are also not heard. And now you can cause a movement. She tried to turn it into a racial thing. He was like, we can help the racial thing by presenting the class. And just go and look at the interview. Go check out the interview. And it's a different take.
Yeah.
It's a different take that a lot of people don't understand because media will stop that conversation. But check out Coleman Hughes. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's like, you know, that's been going on for forever. You know, if you look at like during slavery, during the plantation time and things of that nature, you had, even within the white infrastructure, right? You had wealthy whites, and then you had I don't even know what the terminology is, but you had like the poor whites who was the ones that got their hands dirty, who was still looked.
That's what they would call the blue collar.
Yeah, the blue collar.
Mid class, which don't exist no more.
They was looked down upon by their own because of the wealth gap. So to make them feel like they were better than, because they wasn't looked on the same level because of their skin. You know what I'm saying? Because class and money separated them. They always felt like, all right, well, you know what? I still got a niche over them because they're this color. You know what I'm saying? So even though I'm poor or whatever, I'm looked down upon, I'm better than them because of my skin. You know what I mean? So I mean that's always been going on. Now, just to deviate a little bit, only reason why I say I disagree with the Malcolm X one is because Malcolm X was viewed as more dangerous when he was fully ingrained in it, like when he still had the backing of Elijah Muhammad, because he was a militant black man who can unify people. And if you know, and as you know, any type of, they don't want black people organizing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about white. They don't want black militant people organizing. That's the same thing that happened with Fred Hampton. That's the same thing that happened with the Black Panthers. So he was deemed as more dangerous when he was actually under the tutelage of Elijah Muhammad. What ended up happening is he wasn't viewed as too much of a threat to the government at that point, because there was already division. They had already did what they were supposed to do, because they had division within side, of the Nation of Islam.
But where did that division come from?
Well, it came from the government.
But where else did that division come from? You don't think he's swayed in his teachings?
Well, no, I think where that other thing is, because I think he also got exposed to some things that he didn't want to believe.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all and I don't want to turn it into a Malcolm X thing, because people are gonna have their own take on it. But it's the power in numbers effect that he's just talking about.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, when they want to cause change, they think too minimal. They think in the sense of, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it. And when he's like, but you got to think around that, because they know, and we know who they is, they know you're going to come at it this way. You got to go around that. They've dealt with this so many different times.
Yeah.
So that's why he's like, when you present it in this way, it's more powerful. And one of the things that he learns off of is the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Let me just show you, since we were talking about pettiness in the whole rap battle and stuff like that. This is the pettiness of what Sonny put on him during the View. He goes, well, I've actually learned this, and I've studied on the fact of the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You know what she goes up and says? Well, I know Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter. He gave her a look like, who the fuck
that's just like that's an equivalent. That's equivalent of I have black friends.
His approach. You know what? A lot of people look at his approach or what he's saying. It's the same thing as a reason that a lot of black people, they look at Barack Obama how they do, because I think we talked about it, because we talked about it at the time. They thought when he came into office, he was like, oh man, he's going to uplift the entire black race.
That ain't his fault though.
It's not, because if he had came out and said that shit, they would like, no, we gotta get his ass up out of here. So what he did was, it was to your point. They were trying to improve the impoverished folks all around, which happens to include black, Hispanic, white, stuff like that. And people look at this and, no, you supposed to came in and really looked out for us. You can't get nothing accomplished on that level if you come in with that mindset. And that's the point what Coleman Hughes is saying. You can't. You as much as we want to, you can't, because they've tried that before. They've tried that before. Those who about now. What you also get is the race part is what you get is the stuff that we talked about in the past, where the idea of people say, well, to make things better for the black race, we're going to give them what's it called? Low income housing. We're going to give them state assistance. That'll help improve things. We'll do this, we'll do that. But you know what came with that?
In the niche that they want you to be.
Yep. You know what came with that? Because I'm a product of that. If you got a woman at the time who was on getting assistance, welfare, or something like that, hey, you better not have no man in that house though. So what they do? Now you remove the father from the home so you can give assistance to the mother. So now you have that broken families. Then what happens? The mental aspect goes down. But from outside, look how much money we're giving to the black community or the Hispanic community to help them lift them up. But at the same time, you look at them, it's like, well, shit, they got single parent homes, usually single mom homes. They're living in places to where everybody's on the same income, and they're trying to find ways to get more out of it. It's this, that, and the other, this, that, and the third. The shit doesn't get anywhere. So now they don't, the education is bad in a lot of places here. They're not educated on the financial aspect. So now you're not getting, you're going to get those who are going to be successful, because they just make it out of it, but it's not on the level of the other side. If you know what I'm saying, it's not that at all.
I just wanted to push out there, and this is the reason why I wanted this as the not so breaking news, is because if you want to accomplish something, you gotta go all the way around what you're just
outsmart it, man. You gotta outsmart them.
You just gotta do it.
Got to.
When you're fed something, let's say even within school systems and things like that, they always tell you your best teacher for your kids is yourself.
Yeah.
So if your kids, certain things are going on, you need to step up. You need to be that teacher. You need to check up on things. You need to make sure certain things within the homework, but you also got to let them know about life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of these things aren't going to that's not for others to teach. Or if you leave it on that other person to teach, how do you know they're learning the things that you know what I mean? So these are the type of things. That's what I loved about his mind, the way it was thinking. I'm not going to take 1 + 1 is 2. I'm going to figure out why is it 2. Where do we come up with that? I want to take a little bit deep.
So I'm glad you. It's funny that you said that
new math.
It's funny that you said that, right? So I was actually reading for school, and I thought it was actually a pretty good read. It's called "Make It Stick," right? And essentially, it teaches or talks about how we are taught to learn, you know what I'm saying, and kind of getting away from that. Like we all learn and feel like the appropriate ways to learn is through rote memory. You know what I'm saying? If we memorize something, we go home, we go study, you take the test, and you're doing it to memorize it, right? But ideally, that's wrong because all that does is this. Learning is sustainability, right? And it doesn't sustain long-term memory or long-term information or whatever. Like that's good for short term, but it's like, and it's kind of what you said is like you got to go and ask questions. You want to elaborate. You want to do things and figure out, all right, whatever I'm learning, ask questions, because when you asking questions, you're learning how to apply it. And that's what you want. If you learn and you know how to apply it, then that means you're grasping the full understanding of what you're learning, and that's what learning is about. Schools, a lot of schools and just traditional educations and curriculums don't teach
the application.
That. It's the application piece. You know what I'm saying? And
you know what? And we all have to do. I think I said this just recently. I got my son a book talking about for young gentlemen things that they should know. And I approached it wrong at first. We gave him the book, and every once in a while we'd be like, "Hey, go up there and read the chapter. You go read it. What you learn, blah blah blah." And then he come and tell us, but then it's done. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna go back into this book. Don't finish it. We're gonna start over from the beginning. And when I say we
right
are gonna start over from the beginning, because I want to know the things that you're supposed to know.
Right.
Because maybe I didn't get that.
Or not even, or
and
not
then
even.
We can really bounce it off each other.
You go in there and be like, "Oh, this ain't right at all, sir."
I want to know.
Or not even like what you supposed to know is, if you like, because it's usually like, you spark a question. You know what I'm saying? And then you build off of that and expand on it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like what I might anticipate you getting out of it, you might have got something completely different out. But I also want to know what you got, because it might also help me, because I wasn't looking at it from that standpoint. I was looking at it from one angle, and you kind of opened me up to a whole nother facet that I wasn't even thinking about.
And let's be real. I tell him to go up there and read something. He's just doing it because I told him to do it. It ain't. You can come down and tell me something real quick. He ain't.
And I see it all the time with kids. It's like, and it's even worse now because, and Dave, like, kids don't even have books no more. They got their fucking computer. You know what I'm saying? They're doing iReady and shit like that.
iReady.
You know what I'm saying? And you take an exit ticket, you do an exit ticket, and that's supposed to tell you what you know. Like it's supposed to say, but it doesn't spark like the elaboration. You don't understand what the fuck you're doing. Like you just doing it. Yeah. And then you wonder why kids. I mean, I have my issues with assessment tests, but you wonder why kids aren't. And then tests also too. No, I'm going on a tangent. Go ahead.
You good, but we're on the same level on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
But see what that just sparked? See that?
You know what I think? Just play video games. Just play some damn video games. Quick video game corner, man.
Pretty good, bro. Your segues are very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Quick video game corner, man. We want to give you guys a update on a game that we are all tremendously excited about, and that is the upcoming EA College Football 25. I've been digging, and the last thing I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, I saw July 19th was the potential drop date for it, but that may change. I don't know. I know the football season starts in August, but just like Madden usually drops, the month prior to a few weeks,
like August, right?
Yeah. So, I'm reading a few things there, some details. I know there's supposed to be like a big release, next month, I think, like their first official like release of it. I know we've seen like a small like trailer of it. But what I found, even going on the EA site or some other sites, I'm going to, not even on the EA site, it said potentially for like an online franchise league, which we all know we're going to be diving into. Back in the day, you can only do up to 12. When I saw there, you can only still do 12. If that's the same, then we'll go right there. We don't know that. It's only 4 of us so far. And a few other things there. Of course, we know about the $600, opt-in that they'll get for players part of it. We know Arch Manning opted out of it. Really, this will either be a big hit for EA, or this will be the biggest flop they've had that I can ever remember in life, because I don't think there is a bigger game with as much anticipation as EA College Football.
It's not going to be a flop in terms of sales, because people are going to buy it because this shit.
Oh, yeah, they're going to buy it. But how long are they going to buy it for? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, what end up happening is the initial is going to be great because people are like, I haven't had it. So I'm so honestly, NCAA or whoever's making the game, EA Sports,
it's EA Sports, yeah.
You got to really work hard to fuck this shit up. All you got to do is just make sure that when you create a player, that can still transfer over to Madden.
The simple thing, right? The simple things, right?
Just keep it simple. So and you had all this time to figure this shit out. So I don't think they're gonna have any issue. Now, what could potentially happen is they're like, yo, once you get it, they're like, yo, this shit was ass. You know what I'm saying? So then now that word, travels, but some people are like, you know what, it's still gonna be the intrigue of it. And it's like, I gotta figure it out for myself. I haven't had this shit in so long. Mm-hmm. Let me see for myself. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of equate it to when MLB The Show was made available on Xbox on Xbox Live. Mm-hmm. And it was only available for the longest time. It's a game that I wanted to play for so long, but it was only available on PlayStation. And then when it got made available for Xbox, I was excited. And then the first thing that I looked for, and I know David looked for, I think all of us looked for at the time, we was like, yo, does it have an online league? The thing that we've been playing for the last, I don't know, up 10 years, they didn't have that. Be like, bruh. So yeah, the initial buy-in to it, even though we got it, through our subscription was insane. But then we got it and was like, oh, everything looks great, but you forgot the one important thing. So to your point, hopefully they have that part right. So it you can export your players over to Madden. Mm-hmm. And two, I think that it has to be a difference in look and feel than what Madden is. Like you have to be able to tell the difference between college football, the environment, and Madden. So Kirk Herbstreit and I forgot the other guy that I think they're part of it. So it has to feel better than Madden because be perfectly honest, the atmosphere of Madden is boring. It has,
but college is going to be college. Just the fact that you have way more teams in college, that's already exciting. And then you got people who went to college, so it's like, yo,
but
cool.
that crowd environment, you got to have all those little intricate things.
No, I feel you. I mean, I feel like in 2024, I feel like they'll have those that's kind of the basics that has to come with it. I'm just talking about like just the allure of it. I think what's going to bring to the excitement is college has more teams too. Like you can start if you do leagues and stuff like that, and if you can intermingle the conferences like you can on NBA and stuff like that.
Well, I don't know if y'all had already said it. Sorry, everything was messing up over here. But the other thing is, especially for a person that's a Madden player, is being able to carry that career. So carry that career over. So I'm hoping that it does well, because then they could also think about something that they also had in the past, bring back March Madness and do the same thing on the 2K side.
Right.
You were able to bring those teams in, and then we'll get around the whole thing of what Earl was talking about, knowing these players more because we're playing with them in video games.
Yes.
With their names in it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You won't just know just star players. I'll know like the center from Michigan, for example, if you're not a Michigan fan, stuff like that. So those are the type of things that I'm intrigued about. Like you'll start knowing about players that you know more in the game than you will in real life, and that build up the hype for it. So I think it'll be awesome.
I just want to be able to take Middle Tennessee State, who's like a 2-star, university, turn them to a 5-star.
But that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Do that in this day and age.
Think about how that draft would be in Madden.
Yeah. And then the recruit
draft your own player that you built up.
Right.
That's still your quarterback.
And now think about it, like now with all like how like they should put NIL deals in here. They should put like the transfer portal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that should all be
strippers, all that, son. That's crazy.
All that.
Shoot.
like put recruiting in on this. Like, this kid is a lord here. He's gonna lord here because he's looking for this amount of NIL. You know what I'm
sit
saying?
Back the whole time, watch Earl build up this running back so I can steal him in Madden. He'd be pissed.
Friends, how many of us have them?
Man,
that's it. You know I would do it.
It's the HOTSEED Podcast with your boy Sean, Earl, Dave, man. Before we get out here tonight, of course, this podcast wouldn't be what it is if we hadn't taken our Xbox Live conversation from that gaming space and bring it over to the podcast world, man. So, of course, you can find me at Sanaa2X on Xbox Live. Earl, don't say nothing. I know you got to be on Xbox to play it. Just follow Sean on there and stuff like that. It's fine.
That's how I sound.
That's how you sound. I have been playing MLB The Show, man. I am so close to being brought up to the majors. Right now, I'm AAA. Right now, for the Nationals now. So I've been playing quite a bit. 2-way player, guys doing pretty well. And I actually figured out how to bat. It was difficult, but I've been playing that. So at the end of the day now, I'm expecting to get called up to the Nats, and after that, life's over because the Nats suck right now. But that's all I got. Sanaa2X on Xbox Live. And then a game that Earl kind of poo-pooed for, Open Road. The missus, we was going through it. She was like, download that, please. I want to play it. So if you got any objections about that, Earl, call the Puerto Rican lady and let her know you don't like that game, and then tell me how it go for you. That's all I got. What you got, Dave?
Look, the storyteller. I hate to keep on being redundant about it. Zombies. Call it
Dave, just, I was about to say, like, I could get around it too.
Yeah,
after this,
it's it. Like it's addiction, bro. It is.
Like I should be going to bed right now, but
for all the listeners, definitely check out later on this week We're gonna get some hot takes out there.
Yes, we are.
Because
Had me in
CinemaCon
tears.
just rolled out in Las Vegas right after we left.
So
So a lot of things have been announced, and if you have not seen specifically episode 5 for X-Men,
man,
thank me later.
Yeah.
Get to it quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And then NJ Fatboy 973. Like I said, I concur. Like, we haven't even been playing NBA 2K because we've been so addicted to the zombies. And I will leave with this. This motherfucker said he got time to play all these games, and me and Dave be on here never seen this motherfucker on the box show. With that, I'm complete.
Which is wild.
It's the hot seat
because I've been up here. This guy, I ain't gonna tell you any dope about. This guy's the worst ever, man. Of course, man. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the HOTSEED Podcast. Listen, like, rate, review, share. Most importantly,
Gotta play the Masters too, by the way. But go
absolutely. Ahead. Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, wherever you get your favorite shows. April 25th, that HOTSEED Podcast, NFL Draft Watchcast, because there won't be a podcast next week because we'll be gearing up for next Thursday's show. So enjoy this one, man. We'll see you guys next week. Yeah, we can our sleep and all our data in, man. But yeah, enjoy yourselves, man. It is the hot seat. Now that Errol's the worst, I swear he's the worst, man.
The hot seat.